Hello. There seem to be two options at the moment. Option number one, well, there are three options, of course. Option number one is the option put forward by John Caldwell, who's a Tory donor, and he's given Boris an ultimatum to step aside or to sort out the problem with all the sort of sleaze allegations and the bring your own booze parties. But I don't think that will resolve the core dilemma. Option number two is that there's an election and that Labour takes over. And I don't think that would be very different. In fact, I was having this discussion with a very good friend, and he points out very wisely that the Conservative agenda at the moment, which is the redistribution of wealth, higher taxation and state intervention, is exactly what a Labour Party would offer as well. So the shift, there will be a shift to looking, or there is a shift already, to looking at the perception of government. Is it competent? Does it have integrity? These issues will determine who wins the next election, not what policies a particular party has got, because they're pretty well the same. And I'm afraid in the competence and integrity stakes, Boris is not likely to do very well. But is anyone else? I'm not so sure. Because the other issue that's hanging over us is Brexit. And Brexit is now done. Brexit is a Conservative thing. Its influence will continue for God knows how long. And the voters who were persuaded to come into the Conservative fold will go back to their traditional voting patterns as the dust settles. The red wall, those seats from the north, have already gone back to voting Labour. They would be the ones that are talking about being disgusted with our current government. And equally, those Conservative Remainers who left for other parties or simply didn't vote are unlikely to be coming back to support the government at the moment. What can the Conservative Party possibly do to win back these voters post-Brexit? I don't know. It would have to have a very successful Brexit in order to persuade them to come back to the fold. And most people, I think, would say that the Conservatives are going to struggle at the next election. But then, many people looked at the Conservatives between 1997 and 2005, and they said, well, the likelihood of them ever winning an election again is almost nil. People are writing off the Labour Party in the same way at the moment. I think we're going to see some very interesting voting results in the near future. And we've got to prepare people for this huge change. If Boris is going to be successful, if anybody is going to be successful, I don't think Sunak and Truss are likely to be more successful than Boris. After all, they are as admired in the image of a hypocritical cabinet as Boris. And they're unlikely to be the people who win back the Conservative Remainers or who can work hard enough to keep the red wall intact. Only an outright COVID success or a Brexit success will guarantee victory now. Now, the first of those is not in anybody's power, and the second is overwhelmed by the chaos of the first, by the chaos of COVID. So I don't see that there's very much that anybody can do. So John Caldwell's ultimatum is a lot of hot air. And Boris is that extraordinary political survivor who can generally deal with this sort of hot air because there isn't an alternative. And I would be very surprised if either Liz Truss or Sajid Javid or Rishi Sunak really want to take on the top job at this particular moment. It's a poisoned chalice. And equally, I can't really imagine that Sir Keir Starmer or any of the Labour top rankers would really do any better. We have to stick this one out, I fear. Anyway, look, please follow the channel. Do give me your thoughts, and please ring the bell and continue debating these issues, because every time I talk to people, I get much more interesting feedback and thoughts, and it must make us pause. And if we are pausing and thinking about these things, the hope is that those who are in government are pausing and thinking about these things too. And they're questioning their motives, their actions, and that can only be good.